Hello, friends, and welcome on back. Today, I am sharing my plan with me for the week of January 26th through February the 1st of 2026. For this week, I used the Moonchild kit from Caress Press, and I paired with it a Celestial foil bundle, also from Caress Press, in this like sparkly magenta color, which I quite liked. I ended up not using a ton of it, so I probably could have used something else and gotten away with it, but it is what it is. I just didn't buy the 15 millimeter strip that goes with the kit, so I couldn't I don't know, it feels weird to me to put a 15 millimeter washi strip across like a 30 plus millimeter washi. I don't know, maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm just being dumb. Um But yeah, so I'm trying to think. This week, I used this kit to celebrate my sister's birthday. My sister turned, I think, 23 this year. Yeah, 23. She was born in 2003, which makes me feel so old, but it is what it is. Um, this week, let's see, I put in so the week prior to this was the cold season kit from Planner Pixico. If you didn't watch it, you should totally check it out. But I had put in the sidebar, maybe this week, maybe next week will be better, because I ended up being off of work the entire week. Like all 5 days. Well, I went to work Wednesday, but ended up leaving a half day because I didn't feel well. And so I was like, okay, this week is going to be better. And then Saturday into Sunday, it just snowed. It snowed so much. I think we got 10 to 11 inches, which is not a lot compared to how much some places got. Like New York got 30 inches of snow, which seems unfathomable to me. Um, excuse me. But we got a lot of snow. So Monday, we were on a red travel advisory, which basically meant emergency travel only. Which fortunately for us meant that we did not have to go to work. But the problem was that, yeah, I didn't have to go to work. I didn't have to go into work, but they were like, you guys can work from home, but you're going to have to they basically wanted us to document what we did all day. And I was like, I maybe checked my email for 5 minutes and responded to some emails. And that was it, because a lot of what I needed to get done was stuff that I needed to be in the office for. So I just took it as a day off, which really sucked because it meant that essentially I didn't work Monday. So in addition to not working pretty much the entire week prior, now we're going into this week not working that much either. So Monday worked from home, kind of. Like I said, I didn't even bother submitting that. Like I said, I checked emails and worked on some stuff for maybe an hour at the most, but I just did not feel like it was necessary for me to report that, so I didn't. And then Tuesday, I went into the office because we were on an orange, which meant we could travel in. And so I was there for a couple of hours, and I was like, well, the main reason why I needed to go in was because I needed to order diplomas. Part of my responsibility is to order diplomas for this graduating class. In order for me to do that process, to start that process, I needed to verify that I had students' names spelled right. And I also we had a few students that didn't have their middle names listed in the Skyward program that we use. And so I was needing to look at their birth certificates to confirm if they had a middle name or not. Unfortunately, when I got to work on Tuesday, I found out that I was not able to get into the area where these birth certificates were held. Well, I was able to get into the room, but I couldn't get into the filing cabinets because the only person that has a key was working from home, and she lives outside of town where the school is, and I was not about to have her drive in, and she didn't drive in because she also has children that she could not just, load up in the car and come in and unlock a couple of filing cabinets for me. So I ended up leaving early because I told my supervisor, it's like, I just don't have anything to do, which apparently she didn't like that, because then the next morning we get a group text, and she was like, because they put us back on a red travel advisory, so we weren't allowed to go back in Wednesday morning. But they were like, if we get dropped down to another orange travel advisory, you guys will be required to come in. And then she sorry, she snidely adds at the end, if you don't have anything to do, then our principal added training, loaded training. And I was like, I don't have access to this program, so joke's on you, but whatever. And I was just kind of pissed that we had to go into work, because I was just like, why the fuck do I need to go into work? I don't need to be here. I had nothing to do, so I sat and read all day because I had nothing to do. But whatever. And then Thursday, we ended up having a 2-hour delay. So basically, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, the kids were on virtual, and they have it that if we go on virtual 3 days, consecutive days, so not counting Friday, but Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, blah, 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 blah. The next day, excuse me, the next consecutive day that we have cancellation, it would be a completely free day. And we would have to tack on a day to the end of the school year. So we can have no more than 3 consecutive days. Like I said, Friday does not count in that. So the separation of the weekend does not count, which I think is kind of stupid, but whatever. But yeah, so we ended up, they put us on a 2-hour delay, and we ended up going to school on Thursday, which is what it is. And then Friday was payday. I was just not in a good place mentally, because like I said, everybody's just kind of being bitchy. Kind of started me just not feeling well mentally. You'll see that in the next week, and the week after that, and the week after that, and basically every single week up until where I'm currently living. So whatever. Yeah, and then Sunday, my mom and I, it looks like we went out of town and got Dunkin' and groceries, which was fabulous. So rewinding back to Monday, put in an application, worked from home, kind of, folded laundry, edited and uploaded some videos. I think this is the last time I actually edited and uploaded videos. Super in my feelings. And then I did try to learn how to play a new board game called Daitashi, which I vaguely remember how to play that, but not really. Tuesday, I went to work, and then I texted one of my former coworkers because I had put her name down as a reference for the application that I put in the day prior. And I'm like, it'd probably be a good idea for me. Hey, by the way, of course she didn't care. And then I had to call the doctor's office, because it turns out that the doctor's note that they gave me had the wrong days on it. So I had to call them and be like, hey, I need you to modify this doctor's note, but I also need you add a day. So they were more than willing to do it. I went and picked it up the next day, but I had to call and get that taken care of. And then I had seen a recipe for banana pound cake that I wanted to make, just because, I love banana bread. Everybody in our house likes banana bread, but sometimes you just want to switch it up a little bit. I did video chat with my sister. I don't even remember what we were talking about. And then I did start listening to 6 Feet Deep Dish by Mindy Quigley, I think is how you say her name. I don't remember. I could be remembering that completely wrong now, but it is what it is. Wednesday, like I said, went to work. I read, and I was super grumpy because I was just like, why do we have to be here? Why do we have to come in? This is stupid. Went and picked up my doctor's note, and I had to drop off mail. So Friday I was obviously out. I was told that the mail people did not come Friday to pick up the mail, and they did not come Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday either. So I offered to drop off the mail because I live about a block and a half from the post office. So I was like, I will take the mail to the post office and drop it off, because there were letters in there that had been sitting since Friday that were not getting delivered. And then when I got home, I did put my laundry away. Folding my laundry and putting my laundry away are two different tasks for me. Finished 6 Feet Deep Dish. It was not a very long book. Thursday was my sister's birthday. And then we did have, like I said, we did have a 2-hour delay, but I did go to work. I was just super stressed out. The teachers, I love them to death, but they are the reason that part of the reason why my job is so stressful. And then I did listen to Valentine's in an Apocalypse, which is by Tao Wong. Accidentally listened to that, not realizing that it was like in the middle of book 5 and 6 in a series that's like 20 books long. And so on this evening, I did start listening to the first book in the series, which is called Life in the North. Friday was payday, like I said. Went to work. Had just a rough day mentally, all the things. Read and played Minecraft. Saturday, I had coffee and YouTube time and played Minecraft. And I started my period. DNF'd Station 11, which kind of sucks because I was looking forward to that. And then started the Apocalypse 7. Sunday, coffee and YouTube and more Minecraft. And then, like I said, my mom and I did go to Dunkin'. And then we got groceries and I read the Apocalypse 7. And then I was also working on, I don't even know what ebook I was reading this week. It doesn't matter. That's the finished spread. Hope you all enjoyed this video. If you have any questions about where stickers are from or any other comments, etc., please leave them in the comments below and I will get back to you as soon as possible. But thank you all so very much for watching, and until I see you next time, bye-bye.